In today's modern computer world, this is considered to be a full tower ATX case. This would also still be considered a full tower ATX case. However, many moons ago, this was a full tower ATX case. Hello there everyone, the Wayback Tech here. Got yet another vintage computing video for you. This is a Pentium 2 server, former life a server anyway, that I acquired recently. And I figured that I would go ahead and bring it home because the case is in excellent shape. As you can see, there is absolutely no yellowing of the case whatsoever. This is a SuperMicro server tower. I would say though that full tower cases back in the day, this was the size of the full tower case. If anyone's ever seen the P5, 133, 120, 75 full tower gateway cases, they were this exact same size. So let's have a look inside of this old bad boy and show you what's going on in here. Now I have already been inside of this system and I gave it a little bit of a vacuuming, although it really didn't need a whole lot of cleaning to it. As you'll see in a minute, the reason why when I pull this faceplate off. So let's see if I can do this one-handed while on camera. Now, it's just sliding. Let me go ahead and pause the video and get this faceplate off of here. Alright, I lied. I'm just going to do a B Bishop PCM camera setting down while I pull it apart kind of thing. So I got a grab handle right here, and we just go ahead and give it a pull. Now you notice it does have a lock here, and thankfully it's in the unlocked position. These cases, they have a case lock. A lot of times you can find the lock that fits these. I've only seen a few different sizes that they used for these locks. A larger, a medium, and a small one. So chances are you can usually find something to fit in there. And this is a beast to get apart. There we go. This is only the second time that I've actually taken this thing apart. There we go. Alright. Voila. So behind the case we have three 80mm fans right here, and as you can see, they're punched out fairly well to allow fairly good airflow through them, although this is still not as good as just, you know, regular fan grill cover, you know, those silver ones, chrome ones, whatever you want to call them, that you can put over the fans. But this is a lot better than those cheap little tiny little hole things that a lot of cases like to have. But there's, like I said, three fans on this thing right here. And there is something interesting behind this cover. This has a filter right behind the intake for the fans. Now, there's not a whole lot of airflow that's going to come through that, but this was very filthy behind here. Large clumps of dust balls, dust bunnies, whatever you want to call them, back in here. And what I did is I couldn't get this thing to snap off, and I didn't want to risk breaking the ABS plastic tabs here, so I just popped one of these off just enough to allow me to elevate the filter off, and then I just blew it out with some canned air, and that worked out just fine. So that's a big cover. It just kind of keeps on going there. This case, because it's a server, has an old Seagate tape backup drive in it, which is going to be going bye-bye, because I have absolutely no use for these old-fashioned tape backups, although they are kind of fascinating. But once you actually try to use one of them, it takes a long time to find the data on the tape itself. Of course, we have a floppy drive, and this would not be considered by any means, as UXW Bill would call it, a weenie modern computer. There is more sheet metal on this case than most cars have, if you can believe it. This sheet metal is pretty heavy gauge sheet metal they used to use on these old computers, and that's why these cases, you know, you could probably use this case to support your car. It would take quite a bit of effort to try to crush one of these under your tire, let me tell you what. Alright, so here we go. Now I think, even though when I had this at work and I cleaned it apart, or took it apart to clean it, I did pull these screws out all the way, although I don't think they have to be, because they have these little slits right here, which I think, as long as the screw isn't removed from its little spot there too far out, that it should just open. Let's just see if that's, yes it does, look at that. Okay, so the back cover is actually on a hinge kind of a thing going on back here. You can see the metal is actually folded in right there, which makes it kind of difficult to get this door off if you really wanted to. I'm just going to use the screwdriver here to maybe kind of hopefully keep that door propped open. It's a very interesting layout here. You got two hard drive mounts right here, which are populated with a couple SCSI drives, and then there's also another one right here, and this is something I would probably do. Unfortunately, it's not really the right way to do it. This drive was installed without a mounting adapter right there, so well, this holds it just fine because this sheet metal is so freaking heavy. I mean, I can't even bend it. And it supports the drive just fine. Technically that's a no-no, but that's something I would probably would have done. There is, although, up in here a hard drive mount, which looks like it'd be kind of tricky to get to. However, the top cover comes off with these removal of these two screws. Got a Sparkle Power International Power Supply, 300 watt, which, you know, nowadays that's a pretty weenie power supply, but these older 300 watt power supplies, these things are built like a tank, and that, you know, that may have been replaced. I'm not sure. That I don't know. I don't know if that 2001, if that's the year it was manufactured or not. I don't know. I don't believe this was actually made that new. I think I've got another Pentium 2 450, although I can't seem to find it. So it might be at work. I'm thinking of just going ahead and shoving it in the slot, even though if I install anything other than NT or Linux or something like that, the second processor will get completely wasted. One of the things that's kind of a dumbass thing, and I don't know why they did that, is that cooling fan right there. You see there's no vent cut out in the side cover right here. So yeah, other than putting a stain of dust right here on the inside of the cover, I don't think that fan was really doing a whole lot. And this has a ATI 128 graphics card, Rage 128 graphics card in it. This has been equipped with 2 NICs in it, and it's also equipped with a SCSI card. And I'll probably do with this is I'm going to put in a removable hard drive tray, and I've actually got several of them over there, and they are all IDE, so I'd have to do an IDE hard drive, obviously hook it up to the IDE controller, but I could do a multi-boot setup where I could just, you know, swap the hard drives, put different hard drives in the trays there, and just swap them out accordingly. Let's say one day I want to run NT4, one day I want to run, you know, 98 or 95, and, you know, things like that. I can basically install, since I've got tons of IDE hard drives, it would be no problem to do that. I could obviously do a multi-boot system on one hard drive, but what's the fun in that, right? So I'm going to have to find a flashlight while I've got this baby open and take a closer look at the north bridge there and see exactly if it's a BX or it's a GX. Alright, here we go. And it is a BX chipset motherboard. That's actually surprising that SuperMicro used the BX chipset for a dual motherboard as opposed to the GX board, but then again, you know, a lot of manufacturers were using the BX, the cheaper, I will say, BX chipset motherboard for, or chipset I should say, for their motherboards for dual processor configuration. ASUS and 8-bit were a couple big ones that were doing that back then. So wish I could find my second processor, but I don't have it right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip these little locks back down into place. Well, oh well. What do we have here? A whole pile of computer parts. Woohoo! Rummaging through these trays of parts, looking for some SD RAM, and I came across several choices here, as a matter of fact. Several different sticks of 256 meg, non-ECC and ECC, and this actually came out of an old server. 1 gigabyte total right here. We'll see if that works. And I've also got 1 gigabyte in Crucial sticks here, and one of these came out of this particular computer. Some of these are PC133 CAS latency 3s, however they should operate at CAS 2 with 100 megahertz bus, no problem. I do have this one 512 megabyte stick, IBM stick, so we'll see if that works in this motherboard. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Being a server grade motherboard, it might, even though it is the BX chipset. I know for a fact that I don't think the BX chipset ever supported more than 256 megabytes, and even then it was kind of sketchy at best, past 768 megabytes, but we'll go ahead and try it. Why not? Well, unfortunately the first test with ECC memory resulted in a bit of a failure. Just sat there and beeped at me when I put just one stick of memory in their ECC memory. So I'm going to have to just try the standard SD RAM. It obviously doesn't like the ECC. Alright, we've got the 256 megabyte SIMs installed. 4 of them to give us a total of 1 gigabyte. So let's see what happens now. I'll tell you what, this is definitely a hefty power switch. This is a power switch just like what would be on an AT power supply. So far no beeps. Hey, look at that. And I don't have the keyboard plugged up right now, so let's just go ahead and see how much this counts up to. Now, I tried to go into the BIOS and set this thing to not count the memory, just to try to do, like, you know, a quick memory count, and I couldn't find that option in the BIOS. This is a AMI BIOS, which has the WinBIOS on it. Well, that's interesting. So it only recognized 256 meg of that memory. Alright, well, I guess that's kind of strange because there was a 256 meg stick in this thing, so well, let's go ahead and pop one of the sticks out and see what happens here. I think this one's the easiest to get to, so we'll just go ahead and do that one. And I think I've got all these pushed in, yeah. So let's try this again. This hard drive definitely makes some interesting noises. And as you can see, this is a SuperMicro motherboard. It's kind of cool. Alright, so we've got past 256, so it doesn't like all 3 banks populated with 256 meg of RAM, just like my Celio board. So that must be a BX chipset issue. But I suppose if I can get 768 out of it, I guess that'll be good enough. I'm actually planning on trying some, possibly using this to try some modern operating systems on, so oh, look at that, 512. Huh, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of playing around with this, I guess. See why. Maybe it's that first stick of memory I put in there, I don't know. Well, we'll be back in just a second with the magic of video editing once again. Alright, so I figured out the combination. Did put all the Micron memory. The first two are Micron and the last two are Kingston. And the problem was, two of the sticks that I had that were Micron were single-sided, and this board wants the double-sided, which is a lower density memory. It was only recognizing the other sticks as 128 meg when they were by themselves in the system. So I think I've got this issue resolved. Let's see if it comes up again here and is all happy. I got a keyboard plugged into it this time. And just go ahead and cancel that, and as you can see, it comes up as 1 gigabyte of memory, which is all this is going to support. So onward. Well, it's starting to get late here and I need to get my butt to bed, but I've got pretty much everything done I wanted to do on this. I got the removable hard drive bay installed here, and it's kind of cool about this drive bay is that it has power LED and hard drive access LED as part of the circuitry of this tray, so that's pretty cool to have a separate thing for that, which I don't think these light up until you plug a hard drive into it. I went ahead and put my 5-disc Nakamichi CD-ROM changer SCSI, since this has a SCSI card in it. I took out the tape drive, obviously, and opened up one of the slot bays down here. Took out that one drive that was in here. This was a Cheetah. It was a, let me just show you guys that real quick. It was actually a Ultra 320. And that kind of surprises me because I'm used to seeing the 320 drives with the larger connector back here, not these small ones. Usually the other 320 drives that I have to use the adapter on that, but apparently not this one. That's never seen an Ultra 320 that used the Ultra 160 connector on it, but that's okay. I'll save this drive. I might use this drive in this system at some point, but for right now I'm just going to run off the stock. I'm going to call them the stock drives that would have come with this thing. So I'm going to give this a quick quick test here once again. I put the sound card in there. I took out the Ethernet card and put the Diamond Viper 770 in there. So let's just go ahead, slide this baby out, and let's just make sure it still works here. That's a real switch, I'll tell you what. Sweet. Alright, so I'm going to pause this video and come back tomorrow and start doing some software installations.